Welcome to my first Apex Legends gun guide. In this video, I'll be covering the full auto M600 Spitfire LMG. Now first of all, let me note that I'll be giving more than just personal opinions here. I'll be covering all the stats of each gun that I'm reviewing. Now at the time of this video, there's only two LMGs in Apex Legends, the Devotion and the Spitfire. I'll be comparing these two weapons frequently throughout the video. So let's talk about weapon stats and characteristics. The first thing to note is that the Spitfire uses heavy ammo, which by the way you can carry in stacks of 80. Of note, the Devotion LMG is an energy weapon and does not use heavy ammo. Now the Spitfire comes with 4 attachment slots, which are barrel, magazine, stock, and optic. The two most important attachments for the Spitfire are the barrel and the magazine. The barrel stabilizer is purely for reducing the recoil on your weapon, and thus is best suited for fast-firing, high-recoil guns such as the Spitfire. I'll be covering the recoil pattern on the Spitfire in just a second. Now obviously, the magazine attachment increases your magazine size, so you can fire more bullets before having to reload. But some offer an improvement to your fire rate or reload time in addition or instead. The stock attachment reduces the draw time of your weapon, and it also helps to reduce the amount of aim drift you receive while aiming down sights. Aim drift, by the way, is when your aim will automatically sway on its own in order to make hitting your targets more challenging. Now all these attachments come in different rarities, so obviously you'll want to keep your eyes peeled for blue or better. The blue and purple extended heavy mags on the Spitfire also reduce the reload time, and the gold barrel stabilizer also reduces weapon flash. Now as for damage, the Spitfire deals 20 base damage per shot. It's also got a headshot multiplier of 2, which of course then deals 40 damage per headshot. The fire rate on the LMG is in the moderate category, clocking in at 506 RPMs. In comparison, the Devotion LMG fires at a rate of 676. Now the default reload time on the Spitfire is quite long at 2.75 seconds, but compared to a few other weapons in this game, this isn't too bad. The damage per second on the Spitfire is calculated at 169. Lastly, the default magazine size is 35, which is the highest among heavy ammo using weapons. So what do all these stats mean? Let me break it down even further. First of all, we need to know how much health our enemies have. Every character has 100 health in total, similar to Fortnite. The same goes for shields as well. You can have up to 4 bars of shields, with each equaling 25 points of shield for a total of 100. Now as you should be aware already, there's varying degrees of body armor as well as helmets. So using the Spitfire against a person with no armor at all, it'll take 5 body shots to kill him. And that's where things get a bit hairy. With gray body armor, which is the worst armor you can get, the shots to kill with the Spitfire go up to 8. With blue armor, it only takes 1 more than that at 9, and with purple and gold armor, it's 10. And if you weren't aware of that, by the way, gold armor and gold helmets don't actually differ in stats than the purple ones. They only give you an extra bonus ability, such as gaining full shield when finishing off a down enemy with your kill maneuver. Now again, all those stats were to the body. The helmets in this game also factor into a weapon's time to kill. Since the Spitfire has a 2x multiplier to the head, you obviously want to make sure to try and land headshots when possible. Now I don't want to bore you with every helmet and armor combination in this game, but let me just give you an example. If your enemy has a purple or gold helmet and purple or gold armor, it'll take 7 headshots with the Spitfire to kill him. Now when it comes to time to kill with the Spitfire, you should be thoroughly impressed. If you land only body shots against someone with no armor, the Spitfire has one of the fastest times to kill in the entire game at a whopping 0.47 seconds. In fact, this is the fastest time to kill out of all the heavy ammoed weapons. Likewise, if you run into a purple or gold armored user, the Spitfire still has the fastest time to kill among heavy ammoed weapons at 1.07 seconds. When you factor in helmets and headshots, however, some other weapons trump the Spitfire, such as the Wingman. Still though, in the heavy ammo category against a fully decked out gold armored and helmeted enemy, the Spitfire has a headshot only time to kill of 0.71, second only to the Wingman at 0.61. Now of course, the odds of you landing only headshots with a fully auto LMG are pretty slim. So those were a lot of numbers to soak in there. To sum it all up, out of all the weapons that use heavy ammo in this game, the Spitfire reigns supreme with the fastest time to kill against users with no armor and purple and gold armor. It only barely loses out to the Prowler and the Wingman when you're up against a gray armored user or a blue armored enemy. Now when you talk about helmets and armor together, however, the Spitfire still dominates. The Wingman pistol does beat it in a few scenarios, but not by much. So we know the Spitfire is incredibly strong, but how about its recoil pattern? Surely with such power there'd be some insane recoil, right? Well, not necessarily true. Every weapon in Apex Legends features predictable recoil spray patterns. This means that every time you fire a weapon, and you can try this out yourself by shooting at a wall in training mode, it'll have the exact same spray pattern every time. By doing so, it allows the players the opportunity to master the recoil patterns of their favorite weapons. And that's without worrying that unpredictable recoil could potentially ruin their shot. With that said, the recoil pattern of the Spitfire is very easy to control. As you can see here, and credit for this image goes to the IGN website, the recoil goes up and then slightly snakes to the left just a bit. Any upright recoil pattern like this is very easily controllable. What's great about the Spitfire is that, as mentioned, it can attach a barrel stabilizer, and this reduces the recoil. If you happen to find a gold stabilizer, the recoil will be virtually non-existent. Now, if you thought things couldn't get better than that, they do. The magazine attachment slot can make the Spitfire a newbie boobie's wet dream. As I said, the default magazine size is 35 for the Spitfire. With the gray extended heavy mags attachment, the magazine size increases from 35 to 45. With the blue attachment, it goes up to 55 and reduces the reload time slightly. With the purple attachment, it goes all the way up to 60 rounds and decreases the reload speed down to approximately 2 seconds. And this is absolutely incredible. Not only is your reload time reduced drastically, you quite literally almost double your magazine size. Imagine having the fastest time to kill in several scenarios in this game with 35 rounds at your disposal. That's pretty nice, right? Now picture that same scenario with 60 rounds. You can cold cock an entire trio into oblivion effortlessly with decent aim. At minimum, you should be able to take out a single person without reloading. Now speaking of decent aim, how do the iron sights for the Spitfire fare? Take note, this entire section of the review is subjective. You may or may not agree with what I have to say in regards to the iron sights or optic sights, and that's perfectly fine. For me though, the iron sights are very clean. I've seen people complain non-stop that they're way too difficult to work with. As you can see here, it's a small circular ring, and inside the ring is a miniature horseshoe-shaped sight. It may take some getting used to, but I find these to be easily usable. I can see how some people may find it a bit obstructive though. Sometimes I go the entire game without putting a sight on the Spitfire, as you can see in this very image. But with that said, Apex Legends has a boatload of optic sights. I find that the lowest zoom magnifications work best for the Spitfire though. The 1x holographic or the 1x HCOG are my favorites if I feel like using a sight. Anything that zooms further than 1 seems to muck up my aim and I'm just not comfortable using it. Again though, to each their own. I've seen both streamers and pros use heavily zoomed optics on the Spitfire and still dominate. Now if you weren't aware about this, there is bullet drop off in this game. If you fire some bullets off into the distance with any gun, you'll see that eventually they'll drop. Since the Spitfire is a fully automatic weapon, you should never truly be utilizing this at longer ranges. Even just by tap firing from a distance can be quite difficult. With that said, the bullet drop-off isn't that hard to adjust to from long distances. Just be aware that it can be a bit annoying if your target is cross-map. Now as for specific tactics with the Spitfire, there's not really much to say here. This is a spray and pray weapon that can pack a punch and annihilate an entire trio effortlessly. You should definitely avoid extreme long ranges of course, and always seek cover when you reload. But other than that, you can trudge bowl your way through armor and enemies alike with this monstrosity. And that, as they say, is that. The Spitfire is a fully automatic bullet hose of an LMG that can make even the noobiest of boobies a force to be reckoned with. With awe-inspiring damage, a 2x head multiplier, easily controllable recoil, and enough ammo to take out multiple enemies without reloading, this LMG reigns supreme on the battlefield in Apex Legends. Despite the spawn rate being somewhat on the rare side, should you ever come across the Spitfire or see it in a death crate, make no hesitations about picking it up. The fact that it's fully capable of equipping every type of attachment in the game makes it even more devastating. A fully decked out Spitfire can win you the game single-handedly and with ease. Now despite the Devotion LMG being a fan favorite in the community, the M600 Spitfire is arguably the most practical machine gun out of the two, and it's my absolute favorite weapon in the game. But don't just take my word for it. Pick this majestic beast up yourself and have fun, quite literally, spitting fire.